Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for September 26, 2016. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now what we see is price basically holding right around that 2144 key level. That is the midpoint of the big key range that we had after the sell-off and bounce back. The development of this key range, very important. 2144 has been a focal point here for bulls and bears, where bears were first defending here, bulls got a massive squeeze through it, and now we have the retest, which should be defended by bulls in most cases for a shot at seeing a completion of the move back toward the highs at around 2188 to 2190. So right now, 2144, very important pivot. Bulls want to keep it bid for a shot at seeing a continuation higher. We do have MCB pocket 2179. That is the most likely target with a shot at seeing a push beyond the key range here at 2188. Any failure to hold 2144 would open up a return back toward 2120, which has been a major pivot in these charts as well. All right, let's take a look at the overall view here just for a moment. It shows that we were able to see bulls come in and defend 2120s, and price really continues to hold completely above the prior price distribution. That's generally quite bullish. Usually you see a test at the opposite end of the range, and if you can see a push through 2200, you could see that next lift into the next area of upside targets, which would be somewhere between 2233 and 2240, and even targets beyond it. So you have a very, very good upside, clear air targets to reach to if we can get through 2200. All right, let's take a look at the intraday time frame. Here's the intraday time frame. Right now, basically price pulled back. Here's 2144. We're seeing a little bit of a bounce here, but we've had a downtrending start to the overnight and pre-market session. Above 2150 here can open up a return back toward the previous week's close. That would be 2157.5. Any failure to get above 2150, 2151 would be significant, and we could be looking at a push into the FOMC number at 2135. Remember, usually speaking, when you develop an FOMC number like this and you get a big time rally away from it to begin, whenever you find rejection up here, you usually see a move right back to it. So again, if there's an inability to get above 2150 or establish acceptance above that zone, look for a drop toward 2135. Okay, let's take a look at crude oil. Here's crude oil. Let's pop it up on a daily time frame with the weekly PivotBoss pivots. Taking a look at it this way, here we are. You can see we're kind of building up within that developing triangle, right? Just kind of building out in that area. I mentioned before we weren't likely to see expansion. We were likely to see a false move and a move back up toward 46.69. We got very, very close to 46.69 here, and then we sold off the previous session. So now we're coming back into it. Previous lows here on Thursday. Here's the highs. Here's where prices went offered. This is typically a zone where bears want to defend, but right now, this is choppy area. This is what it's supposed to look like. It's very difficult to get any kind of edge in this zone. You have to wait for the edges of the range. Right here in the middle of the apex of this larger developing triangle is not the area to find entries for trades or anything for that matter right now. It's just really a lot of chop. You have to be very, very careful around here. At some point we will see expansion, but until then we're likely going to see this thing continue to do this a little bit more before we do see a breakout. And that could be later on this week, so we'll see how that plays out. But right now 43 is very important. Anything above 47, and especially 48, very important for upside break. But within that zone, 43 to 47, it could be fade the edges until proven otherwise. All right, let's take a look at the intraday time frame. Right now, here's the intraday. Again, if we're bouncing up a little bit here, you know, this is the recent sell-off, a little bit of a move down here, the previous session. And now you can see here's the previous session's close, and you can see how price is pushed above that zone. So coming back into it, if it remains support, we could be looking at a move back toward 5-day VPOC. That would be at about 46.15. So that's something to watch out for here. We have the FOMC level at 45.17, which is a key important level right now. A little bit of a rounded bottom. Again, if there's strength above that zone, we could be looking at a move right back toward 46.15 and 46.20. Failure to get above 45.17s, again, could lead to another test back toward the previous session's low at 44.22. All right, let's take a look at gold futures. All right, here's a look at gold. This one has been coiling up significantly, right? We have a big, clear trading range right now. Very nice price distribution, very organized and active market. I've said this since the beginning of the year. Gold has really has had great price distributions throughout. We've had an uptrending price structure, a clean market structure, great edges. We've stayed within these ranges for some time, which is very good for facilitation of trade. And now we're right at the center of one at the moment. So being around this point right here, very, very difficult area. 1340 has been kind of the pivot within this range. Typically speaking, since we're coming from the bottom, the implication would be a little bit a move toward the outer edge to the top, but we can go in either direction right now. We're still developing in this range. There's really no edge right here at the middle of the range. The edge is at the edges of the range, right? So once you get up here, you look to fade it back. Once you get down here, you look to fade it up. Right now, nothing really to do at the moment, although price is coiling up within a very tightly formed 3-day developing range. And this type of narrow range right here, especially last week, closing with an inside day, that could give you a short-term breakout opportunity. So there could be a momentum move out of this range one way or another. But I would watch the first breakout to be perhaps a false breakout. So for example, if we break down, be wary, because if it pops right back above the bottom of that zone, that could be a nice fade back to the upside. All right, let's take a look here at the NQ. All right, there's the NQ. The NQ right now holding at highs. This one's been quite bullish. You see this big pullback here into 46.25. We've since pulled through the top of recent highs, slingshotted higher. We hit the 25% expansion target, pulled back, and now we're seeing a little bit of strength off the 48.20. So right now, this has a very good feel for another round of strength here, really. You've had an uptrending market. Here's the previous week's close, and the first move below the previous week's close is usually absorbed by bulls looking to defend and squeeze bears back above that previous close. So right now, this first pullback below this close, very important. If bulls can continue to hold prices above 48.20, any activity down here could be absorbed, and the next thing you know, you could be seeing a great squeeze above 48.60 to new highs. Any failure to hold above 48.20 opens up a key retest of that FOMC number, 48.04, with a shot at seeing more of a pullback. So if we drop into the lower time frame here, you can kind of see this a little bit more clearly. 48.20 here, we've seen a little bit of a bounce right now. 48.20, very important short term. You also see right here, nice clear LVN at 48.40. And you also have that 48.60 up here. So this is what I mentioned. When you get in this pullback here, this is where bulls want to absorb in this zone and eventually squeeze back above this level. Until then, we could be kind of seeking a little bit lower prices until we find rejection, at which point we'll see what happens. But right now, keep an eye on 48.20 and that 48.57 quarter, which is the previous week's close. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out heading into the new week of trading. Good luck and trade well.